Bronze is the first metal you'll need a lot of in Valheim, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step guide to making it. Now before you get any bronze at all, you're going to need to know a couple of things. First of all, bronze bars are made from 2 copper ingots and 1 tin ingot. So you're going to need to find those 2 ores, mine them, smelt them, and then craft them into bronze so that you can start making bronze equipment. So let's start with getting copper. Copper and tin both only spawn in the Black Forest biome. You'll recognize it with these big pine trees. When you're in here, you'll need to watch out for new enemies if you've just come from the forest biome. You'll now have to deal with grey dwarfs, grey dwarf brutes, grey dwarf shaman, skeletons, and trolls. To find copper, you're going to want to look for these rocks in the ground. You'll see 2 kinds when you're walking around, just plain green moss rock, and green with golden streaks. We want the ones with the metallic streaks through it. When you look at a copper ore deposit, you'll see the name pop up telling you that it is in fact copper. To mine this, you're of course going to need a pickaxe. The first pickaxe you'll have access to is the antler pickaxe, and you can craft this at the workbench with 10 wood and 1 hard antler. You get these antlers by beating the first boss Tier, so if you haven't defeated him yet, you're going to want to go and do that first. You can technically skip the first boss by using trolls to hit copper and by hunting down tin through other means, but for the sake of this video, a pickaxe is going to be a lot easier for you. There's no real secret to finding the copper, you just kind of run around staring at the floor until you find some. So you found your copper and you have your pickaxe. Would you believe that the next step is to hit the copper with the pickaxe? A lot of times. Now copper is a little bit deceptive. It may seem like you've mined out all the copper here, but in fact you haven't. These nodes go very, very deep into the ground. One strategy you have is to use your pickaxe to dig out and around the copper node so that you don't miss any. You can even dig under the copper afterwards and let gravity break all the rest of the deposit for you and drop all the ores and stone on the ground. But digging it out the old-fashioned way will work as well. If you happen to be an advanced player watching this video, I would like to know if in your experience the digging the whole thing out and digging under it strategy is actually faster than just doing it the normal way. Anyway, so you've dug it all up and you've filled a load of chests with copper and stone. How do you get it back to your base to process it? Well, until you have yourself a cart, which requires bronze, you're gonna have to carry it back the hard way. So as you can see, this is pretty inefficient because of how heavy the ores are. So what can you do to speed all of this up before you have a cart? Well, what I'd actually recommend you do before you go and collect your ores is get the structures you need to process it all first. You can even place these structures at the node itself if you'd like. So what do we need to process the ores? We need a smelter and a kiln. Each of these is going to require 5 surtling cores, and surtling cores spawn in burial crypts. When you're exploring the Black Forest biome, you'll find these dungeons. They're usually guarded with 3 skeletons outside and several more inside. In here, we'll have a chance to find surtling cores with a lot of other good loot. Surtling cores look like these, they're little red cubes, and before you process any ores, you're going to need to get at least 10 of these. So run around the Black Forest and clear out as many of these burial crypts as you need to, and go back to wherever you want to process the ore. You want to build the smelter and build a kiln. Your kiln will turn wood into charcoal, which you can use to fuel your smelter. Your kiln can hold 25 wood and will convert 1 piece of wood into 1 coal every 16 seconds. So it takes just over 6 minutes to use up all its fuel and produce 25 coal. The smelter will take 1 ore and 2 coal, and in 30 seconds it will output a metal bar. The smelter can hold up to 10 ore and 20 coal at the same time, so it can hold 5 minutes worth of processing, and in that 5 minutes it will produce 10 metal bars. Worth noting that time is actually fast forwarded while you sleep, so if you put a bunch of ores and coal in your smelters and fill up your kilns and then go to bed, you'll wake up with all your smelters and kilns finished processing, which is a good time saver. So now we can process our ores into metal bars, but to do anything with these bars, you're going to need to make a forge. Forge is a lot like a workbench, but it works with metal items. To make one, you're going to need 4 stone, 4 coal, 10 wood, and 6 copper. So you want to take your first 6 copper bars and build yourself a forge. You'll see that pretty much all you can make at this point is a copper knife, and that is because in order to make bronze, we need copper and tin. So how do we get tin? Tin also spawns in the Black Forest biome, usually along riverbeds and shorelines, and it looks like a shiny grey rock. Tin is quite different from copper. These only spawn in little nodes across the biome rather than in big deposits, so when you break a node you'll get 3 or 4 tin and that is all. You'll need to go and find another node. So once you got some of this tin and you've processed it into tin bars, the same way you did with copper, you can take 2 copper bars and 1 tin and turn it into a bronze bar at the forge, just like crafting any other item. Congratulations, you made your first piece of bronze. Now you can use bronze to craft various upgraded tools, weapons and armor. One thing you should definitely craft first though is 10 bronze nails, and then build yourself a cart. A cart can carry around a lot of weight, and you can dump various ores and bars in there and just move them around a lot more efficiently than if you were to do it in several trips. Stand between the 2 beams and press E, and now you can drag the cart around. Another big thing you're going to want is a cultivator. That's going to let you farm things like carrots and make better food. Speaking of better foods, you'll be able to make yourself a cauldron out of 10 tin, which will let you cook much better food items and potion bases. I'll let you figure out the other things you can make out of bronze. If you find this video helpful, you might find my easy start guide to Valheim very useful. I go over 15 steps to getting the best start in Valheim. My patrons and channel members get early access to these videos and get extra input in deciding what videos I do. I really appreciate every person who chooses to support me. Speaking of which, thank you to my channel members and patrons for making this video possible, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.